Sarah Chen stood at the window of her office in the United Nations building, watching the morning sun reflect off the buildings of New York City. The message that would change humanity's future had arrived just 3 hours ago, and she still couldn't quite believe it. Ambassador Chen, her assistant, knocked softly. "The Security Council is ready for you." Sarah straightened her navy blue suit and picked up her tablet. At 45 years old, she had spent her entire career preparing for first contact, but nothing could have truly prepared her for this moment. The Galactic Council, after observing humanity's successful test of their first FTL drive, had finally decided to make contact. The Security Council chamber was packed with representatives from every major nation. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. As Sarah took her place at the podium, the massive screen behind her displayed the message that had stunned the world. As humanity's chief diplomat, she began, her voice steadied despite her racing heart. "I have reviewed the Galactic Council's invitation thoroughly. They're offering us membership in a community of over 30 spacefaring species. This isn't just first contact. It's an invitation to join the galactic civilization." Murmurs filled the chamber. A representative from India raised his hand. "How can we be sure this isn't a trap?" Sarah had expected this question. "Our deep space monitoring stations have been tracking their ships for the past week. They could have attacked at any time, but instead they're following all our safety protocols. They're keeping their ships beyond Mars orbit, exactly as we requested." In the back of the chamber, General Martins of the Space Force shifted uncomfortably. "We've only just developed FTL technology. Why would they invite us now?" According to their message, FTL capability is their benchmark for civilizational advancement, Sarah explained. "They say every species gets an invitation once they achieve this milestone." What Sarah didn't mention was the strange timing. Humanity had been working on FTL drives for decades, but the breakthrough had come surprisingly quickly in the end, almost too quickly. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of preparation. Sarah led a team of 20 diplomats, scientists, and military advisors chosen to represent Earth. Their ship, the UES Hope, was humanity's newest vessel, equipped with their most advanced technology. As they approached the Galactic Council station, Sarah stood on the bridge, her breath catching at the sight. The station was massive, a structure of gleaming metal and crystalline surfaces that dwarfed anything humanity had built in space. Ships of various designs moved around it in careful patterns, each one different from the last. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Dr. James Wong, the team's chief scientist, stood beside her. "But something feels off." Sarah had noticed it too. The alien ships, while impressive, kept their distance from the human vessel. There was no welcoming committee, no escort ships, just automated guidance beacons leading them to their designated dock. In the privacy of her quarters that evening, Sarah recorded a personal log. There's an old saying, "If something seems too good to be true, it probably is." The Council's invitation was too perfect, too timely. "I've advised Earth Command to maintain our defense readiness, just in case, but we can't let paranoia stop us from taking this historic step." What Sarah didn't know was that at that very moment, in a secure chamber deep within the Council station, representatives of various alien species were watching the human ship with growing concern. "They developed FTL too quickly," a reptilian alien hissed. "Their adaptation rate is unprecedented. The containment protocols are ready." Another replied, their crystalline form shimmering. "Once their delegation is aboard, we can begin." The trap was set. But the Council was about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity. For while they saw humans as a primitive species to be contained, they had failed to notice something crucial. Humans had been preparing for both the best and worst scenarios since they first looked up at the stars. The Council chamber took Sarah Chen's breath away. Towering windows showed the star-filled vastness of space, while representatives of 30 alien species sat in rising tiers around a central platform. Some floated in anti-gravity fields, Others sat in specialized environment chambers, but all eyes were fixed on the human delegation. Approach, representatives of Earth. The council speaker, a tall being with silvery skin, gestured with one of its 4 arms. Sarah led her team forward, her heart pounding but her step steady. Dr. Wong whispered under his breath, "Ambassador, something's wrong. The energy readings in this room are spiking." Before Sarah could respond, a shimmer of blue light appeared around the human delegation. She reached out and felt an invisible barrier. They were trapped in a force field. Humanity, the council speaker's voice had lost all its previous warmth. "You have been judged and found wanting." Gasps echoed from the human team. Sarah stepped forward, her diplomatic training kicking in despite her shock. "What is the meaning of this?" "We came in peace." "Peace?" A reptilian council member laughed harshly. "Your species developed FTL travel in half the time of any other civilization. You adapt our technologies and improve them in ways that should be impossible. You are too dangerous to be allowed free rein in the galaxy." The crystalline alien from the secret meeting floated forward. "Earth will submit to protective oversight. Your military will be disbanded. Your technology will be restricted. This is not a negotiation." Sarah's mind raced. She had to warn Earth. While the aliens talked, she slowly reached for the small device hidden in her sleeve, an emergency quantum communicator that Dr. Wong had insisted they all carry. "And if we refuse?" Sarah asked loudly, drawing attention while her fingers worked the device's simple controls. The council speaker's expression turned cold. "Then we will be forced to demonstrate why we have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Warning sent. Sarah straightened her spine and showed them humanity's steel. "You've made a terrible mistake. Humanity doesn't respond well to threats. Your bravery is admirable but foolish," the reptilian alien said. "Your ships are primitive. Your weapons are centuries behind ours. What could you possibly do?" At that moment, alarms began blaring throughout the station. A junior alien technician burst into the chamber. "Council speaker, we're detecting hundreds of human ships dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system." The council chamber erupted in chaos. The speaker's silvery skin turned pale. "Impossible. Their fleet consists of only 20 ships." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. While she hadn't known about the secret fleet herself, she wasn't surprised. Humanity had learned long ago to hope for the best but prepare for the worst. "You should have done more research," she told the stunned council. "Throughout our history, humans have faced countless threats to our survival. Each time, we've adapted and overcome. Did you really think we'd send our only ships on a first contact mission?" The quantum communicator in her sleeve vibrated with a response. "Hold the position. Help is coming." The council speaker was shouting orders now, their composure completely broken. "Activate the defense grid. Launch all ships." How did they hide an entire fleet from our sensors? As alien ships scrambled to respond to the threat, Sarah watched through the chamber windows as bright flashes marked the arrival of more human vessels. She felt pride mixed with sadness. Pride in humanity's foresight, sadness that first contact had come to this. "You could have had allies," she told the council quietly. "Instead, you've made an enemy of the one species you should have never underestimated." The battle for humanity's future was about to begin, and Sarah Chen knew one thing for certain. The council was about to learn why you should never, ever back humans into a corner. Admiral James Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the HSS Vindication, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic displays, showing hundreds of ships moving into position. Operation Shadow Fleet, humanity's secret insurance policy, was finally being revealed. "All ships report ready, Admiral," his XO, Commander Lisa Park, announced. Her fingers danced over the control panels, coordinating the massive fleet's movements. "Who would have thought," Rodriguez said quietly, "that our paranoia would pay off?" He remembered the arguments 5 years ago, when he and others had pushed for building this secret fleet. Many had called it a waste of resources, Now, it would save humanity. The fleet's existence was humanity's best-kept secret, built in hidden shipyards deep in the asteroid belt and beyond Neptune. Each ship incorporated lessons learned from studying alien technology that had been accidentally discovered near Earth over the past decades. Now Rodriguez knew those discoveries had been tests by the Council. Tests that humanity had turned to their advantage. Message from Earth Defense Command. Commander Park reported. Ambassador Chen's emergency signal confirms the Council's hostile intent. We are authorized to proceed with Operation Shadow Fleet. Rodriguez nodded grimly. Send to all ships. Execute Battle Plan Alpha. Remember your training. Show them what humanity can do. The human fleet moved with precision that would have impressed even the Council. Ships gathered in formations that seemed random at first glance, but followed patterns developed through thousands of combat simulations. Council ships launching from their station, a sensor officer called out. Reading 700 vessels of various classes. Their weapons are powered and shields are up. Rodriguez allowed himself a small smile. They still think they have the advantage. Lieutenant Chen. Activate the Chimera system. Sarah Chen's nephew, Lieutenant Daniel Chen, worked at his station with quiet intensity. The Chimera system was his aunt's contribution to the fleet, a revolutionary technology that allowed human ships to mimic alien energy signatures. To the Council's sensors, the human fleet would look like a random collection of space debris until it was too late. Chimera system active, sir, Lieutenant Chen reported. Council ships are showing confusion. Their formation is breaking up. The bridge crew watched as the Council fleet split into smaller groups, trying to locate the human ships their sensors insisted were there, but that their eyes couldn't see. All ships, power weapons, Rodriguez ordered. Remember, we disable when possible. Humanity will show more mercy than they did. The first shots of the battle lit up space like artificial stars. Human ships, appearing seemingly out of nowhere, struck with surgical precision. Council ships found their sophisticated shields useless against weapons that combined technologies in ways they had never imagined possible. Sir, Commander Park's voice held a note of triumph. The Council's flagship is requesting communication. Put them through, Rodriguez said, straightening his uniform. The Council speaker's silver face appeared on the main screen, fear evident in their four eyes. How? How did you do this? Your technology should be primitive. You assumed we would develop like every other species you've encountered, Rodriguez replied calmly. That was your first mistake. Humans don't just copy technology. We improve it. We combine it. We make it our own. We demand you cease this attack. The speaker tried to sound authoritative despite their obvious panic. Rodriguez's expression hardened. You're not in a position to make demands. Here are our terms. Release the human delegation immediately. Then we'll discuss the future of the Council, a future where humanity has a fair seat at the table. As the speaker sputtered in response, Rodriguez looked at the tactical display showing more Council ships surrendering. This was just the beginning. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity wouldn't just accept a place in the stars. They would help forge a better future for all species, whether the old Council liked it or not. The Council's top military commander, General Zexkar, stared in disbelief at the battle displays in their war room. Nothing made sense. The human ships moved in ways that should have been impossible, reacting to attacks before they even happened. How are they doing this? Zexkar demanded, their scaled skin darkening with rage. No organic beings can react that fast. On the main screen, a human destroyer dodged a plasma burst, twisted in a way that violated normal space physics, and fired back with perfect accuracy. 3 Council ships went dark, their systems completely shut down by weapons that shouldn't exist. Meanwhile, aboard the human ship HFY Defiant, Captain Maria Santos lay in her neural command pod, her mind directly connected to her ship's systems. Through the neural net, she didn't just pilot her ship, she was her ship. Target locked, she thought, and the Defiant's weapons responded instantly. All squadrons, Execute pattern delta. The neural net, humanity's greatest secret, had taken years to perfect. It allowed human pilots to control their ships as naturally as moving their own bodies. While council ships rely on traditional controls and AI assistance, humans had found a way to merge their consciousness with their vessels. In the council war room, a young analyst rushed in with new data. "General, we've detected unusual energy patterns from the human ships. They're using biological interfaces." Zexkar's inner eyelids flickered rapidly, a sign of extreme stress in their species. "Impossible. The biological risks would be—" "Sir," another officer interrupted, "the humans are deploying something new." From the human fleet, small objects began to emerge. They looked like normal space debris at first, but suddenly they transformed, revealing themselves as compact fighter craft. These neural fighters, piloted by humans in miniaturized neural pods, darted between the larger council vessels with impossible agility. Captain Santos smiled as her consciousness expanded through the neural net, connecting with her fighter squadrons. She felt every move they made, coordinated their attacks with perfect precision. The Council's rigid combat doctrine had no answer for this level of coordination. "How are you cheating physics?" a Council commander demanded over an open channel, their voice filled with frustration. "We're not cheating," Santos replied calmly while executing another impossible maneuver. "We just understand it better. When you connect human intuition directly to spacecraft systems, amazing things happen." In the Council war room, General Zexkar watched their carefully planned defenses crumble. The humans weren't just winning, they were rewriting the rules of space combat. "They're not using standard targeting systems," an analyst reported. "Each human ship has unique attack patterns. They're improvising in real time." This was what truly terrified the Council. Their species had spent millennia perfecting specific combat roles and tactics. But humans, connected directly to their ships through the neural net, could adapt and change strategies instantly. Captain Santos felt a surge of pride as another Council squadron surrendered. Through the neural net, she could sense her crew's determination, their unified purpose. This technology didn't just make them better pilots, it made them a true team, connected in ways the Council couldn't understand. "All ships," she broadcasted, "move to secure the Council's primary defense station. Remember, minimal casualties. We're here to end this war, not start a bigger one." As the human fleet moved forward with unstoppable precision, General Zexkar finally understood their fatal mistake. The Council had spent so long maintaining control through technological superiority, they'd forgotten that true innovation comes from being willing to try the impossible. And humans, it seemed, had made a career out of achieving the impossible. The massive Council defense station, Aegis Prime, hung in space like a shattered jewel. Its once impenetrable shield grid flickered weakly as human ships systematically dismantled its defenses. But inside the station, something unexpected was happening. "They fight like no species we've ever seen," said Krelix, a young Council security officer, watching battle footage with growing admiration. "Look, they adapt their tactics for each different species they face." His superior, Commander Vex, watched with growing concern as human ships engaged various Council races. Against the crystal-based Lumini ships, they used sonic weapons. Against the energy-based Zarkak vessels, they employed gravity distortion. Against the biological ships of the Murga, they used targeted electromagnetic pulses. How can they switch combat styles so quickly? Vex wondered aloud. It's as if they've studied all our weaknesses. Aboard the HSS Vindication, Admiral Rodriguez coordinated the multi-pronged assault. His neural net connection showed him the entire battlefield like a three-dimensional chess game. "Sierra Squadron, switch to plasma dispersal against those crystalline ships," he ordered. "Delta Wing, use graviton beams on the energy vessels. Remember, disable, don't destroy." Commander Park monitored the Council's communications. "Sir, we're picking up interesting chatter. Several Council races are questioning their leadership's decisions. The Lumini are particularly vocal about withdrawing from the fight. Rodriguez nodded. This was what they had hoped for, not just winning the battle, but breaking the Council's unity. Broadcast on all frequencies, he ordered. This message goes to all Council races. His voice echoed across space. We don't want to destroy you. Your Council leaders lied about humanity's intentions. Look at our actions. We disable. We don't kill. We offer surrender terms to all ships. We show mercy. Is this the behavior of the dangerous species your leaders warned you about? On Aegis Prime, more officers gathered around Kralix's display. They watched as a human ship rescued the crew of a disabled Council vessel, providing emergency life support rather than leaving them to die. The Council told us humans were savages. A Lumini officer's crystalline form sparkled with confusion. But their actions show honor and restraint. Commander Vex felt the mood in the room shifting. Return to your posts, he ordered sharply. This is still an enemy attack. But the damage was done. Throughout the Council fleet, ships began breaking formation. Some simply withdrew from the battle. Others, particularly those who had witnessed human mercy firsthand, actively switched sides. Admiral, Commander Park reported excitedly. The Lumini fleet is standing down. Their commander is requesting to open diplomatic channels. Rodriguez allowed himself a small smile. Accept their request, and send them our evidence package about the Council's leadership. The battle had become a revolution. As Council ships either retreated or joined the human fleet, the truth spread quickly. Humanity hadn't just developed better technology. They had studied and understood each Council race's culture, tactics, and technology. They had prepared not just to fight, but to liberate. In his private command room, the Council speaker watched his carefully maintained order crumble. How? He whispered. How did they turn our own forces against us? The answer was simple, though he couldn't see it. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their advanced ships or neural net technology. It was their ability to understand and adapt to different species, to show respect for their unique qualities while opposing the system that oppressed them. As the battle entered its final phase, Admiral Rodriguez sent one last message to the Council station. Your choice is simple. Surrender and face fair justice, or continue fighting and lose everything. Unlike you, we believe in second chances. Choose wisely. The age of Council dominance was ending. A new era of galactic cooperation was about to begin. Lieutenant Daniel Chen worked frantically at his terminal aboard the HSS Vindication, his eyes widening as he decoded the data streaming from the captured Council databases. What he found made his blood run cold. Admiral, he called out, his voice shaking. You need to see this immediately. Admiral Rodriguez disconnected from his neural pod and moved to Chen's station. The young lieutenant's fingers flew across the holographic display, bringing up file after encrypted file. It goes back thousands of years, sir, Chen explained. The Council, they've been systematically suppressing other species' development. Look at this. The screen showed hundreds of civilizations, each marked with dates of containment or regression. Some had been totally destroyed, others subtly manipulated into technological dead ends. Send this to Ambassador Chen immediately, Rodriguez ordered. In the Council's detention center, Sarah Chen's quantum communicator buzzed quietly. As she read the data, her face hardened. The Council speaker, still trying to maintain authority despite being under guard, noticed her expression. Now you understand, the speaker said quietly. Progress must be controlled. Innovation must be regulated. It is for the greater good. Sarah looked up from the data, her eyes flashing with anger. Greater good. You've been strangling civilization after civilization. Any species that showed too much creativity or innovation was labeled as dangerous and suppressed. Through her neural net connection, Commander Park shared the revelations with the fleet. The response from their new allies was immediate and explosive. They sabotaged our quantum research program 3 centuries ago. A Lumini scientist broadcast. They said it was to prevent accidents, but they were keeping us contained. More revelations poured in as other species accessed the Council's secret archives. The Zarkak discovered their genetic engineering program had been secretly limited. The Murga found evidence their space exploration had been deliberately slowed. On the Council Station's main command deck, Dr. Wong worked with alien scientists to dig deeper into the archives. His expertise in xenotechnology proved invaluable as they uncovered layer after layer of deception. "It's brilliant in its evil," he said to Sarah through their secure channel. "They didn't just suppress technology. They made species believe they had reached their natural limits. The Council created an entire false science of technological development to convince everyone that innovation had to slow down naturally. But humanity had unknowingly broken the pattern. Their rapid development and unique ability to combine technologies had happened too quickly for the Council to contain. When they achieved FTL travel years ahead of the Council's predictions, it triggered panic among the leadership. That's why they invited us to join so quickly," Sarah realized. "They weren't welcoming us. They were trying to trap us before we became too powerful to control." In the Council's secure archives, Rodriguez discovered records of emergency meetings about humanity. The Council had been terrified by humans' ability to take different alien technologies and combine them in new ways. This technological synthesis threatened their entire system of control. "Sir," Commander Park reported, "we're getting requests from dozens of species. They want to share technology, to learn our methods of innovation. The Council's suppression is breaking down everywhere." Rodriguez smiled. "Share everything. Show them all how we combine technologies, how we find new solutions. Let's turn this from a revolution into a renaissance." Sarah confronted the Council speaker one final time. "You could have had willing partners in humanity. Instead, you tried to cage us, just like you caged everyone else. That time is over." The speaker's silver skin had dulled to a pale gray. "You don't understand. Without control, without order, without freedom to grow, civilization stagnates." Sarah cut him off. "It's time for the galaxy to breathe free again." As the truth spread across Council space, the old order crumbled. But in its place, something new and wonderful was about to be born. 1 month after the Great Battle, the Council Station looked very different. Where once only high-ranking Council members walked, now representatives from hundreds of species filled its corridors. The station had been transformed from a center of control into a hub of cooperation and innovation. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the same podium where she had faced the Council's betrayal. But now, instead of looking up at judges, she faced equals. Species from across the galaxy had gathered for the founding of the new Galactic Alliance. The old Council believed that progress had to be controlled. She addressed the gathered species. They forgot that the greatest achievements come from freedom, cooperation, and trust. Admiral Rodriguez, standing beside her, watched as former Council races mingled with newly contacted species. The Lumini crystals sparkled with excitement as they discussed quantum physics with Zarkak energy beings. Human scientists shared neural net technology with eager alien engineers. "Look at them," Rodriguez said quietly to Sarah. 1 month ago, they were enemies. Now they're trading ideas like old friends." Dr. Wong rushed up to them, his eyes bright with excitement. "Ambassador, Admiral, you need to see this. The Murga biologists just combined our neural net concept with their organic technology. They've created something entirely new. In the station's massive research center, previously used to suppress innovation, breakthrough after breakthrough was happening. Species that had been kept apart by the Council discovered their technologies worked together in ways no one had imagined. It's exactly what the Council feared," Commander Park said, reviewing reports of new discoveries. "When different species work together freely, progress doesn't just add up, it multiplies." The former Council speaker, now awaiting trial for crimes against galactic civilization, watched from a security cell as his carefully maintained order transformed into something new. "You'll destroy everything," he warned when Sarah visited him. "Without control, without limits. Without limits, we reach the stars. Sarah corrected him. Look at what's already happening. The Lumini have cured diseases that plagued them for centuries. The Zarkak have solved their energy crisis. Humanity's neural net technology combined with Murga biology has opened up whole new fields of science. Lieutenant Chen approached with the latest statistics. The number of registered technological breakthroughs in the past month exceeds the last century under Council rule. And that's just the beginning. But humanity's greatest victory wasn't in defeating the Council, it was in showing mercy afterward. No species was punished for following Council orders. Instead, all were invited to join the new alliance as equals. We could have destroyed you, Rodriguez told the former Council leaders at their trial. Instead, we're offering you a chance to be part of something greater. That's the difference between control and leadership. The station's Great Chamber, once a place of judgment, had been redesigned. The High Council seats were gone, replaced by a circular arrangement where all species sat at the same level. Above them, a new motto was written in all their languages: Progress through Unity. Sarah stood at her new desk, looking out at the same stars she'd seen on her first arrival. But now they didn't seem cold and distant. They were full of promise. To think, she said to Rodriguez, they tried to cage humanity because they feared our ability to adapt and grow. They never understood that these gifts were meant to be shared. As ships from across the galaxy docked at the station, bringing new ideas and new possibilities, humanity had proven something remarkable. True strength wasn't in controlling others, but in helping them grow. True power wasn't in forcing compliance, but in fostering cooperation. The stars had never seemed brighter, and the future had never looked more promising. A new age of discovery, cooperation, and progress had begun, all because humanity refused to be contained.